We are closing in on 29 million Americans diagnosed with COVID-19. Up to 8 million are long haulers. The virus continues to affect them.
As our Emily Dwyer reports, some in our own community are finding help at post-COVID clinics where doctors are hoping to learn more about the long-term consequences.
I was in a coma for 5 weeks.
Sarah Drummond is now COVID-free, but the lasting impacts are still present.
I never thought that COVID would make my muscle memory disappear like it has.
5 days a week, Sarah does occupational and physical therapy at Madonna Rehabilitation Hospital's Omaha campus, where, among other things, she is relearning how to walk.
It's very difficult because you have to think, heel, toe, bend your knee, bend your hip.
Her COVID diagnosis toward the end of last year left her hospitalized, intubated, and in the ICU, all before she was moved to Madonna, where she's been staying for a month.
I couldn't feed myself when I got here.
Now, she's able to walk on her own. Muscle weakness is one of the many persistent problems doctors are seeing in the long hauler patients. Dr. Samuel Berner says their most common symptoms are fatigue and breathlessness. Some also suffer from long-term nerve damage and lung issues.
So they have a lot of difficulty getting back to their normal level of activity.
It is not clear yet why the symptoms can stick around for weeks and even months after infection in some people, but not others. That's what doctors hope to find out through testing and research at long hauler clinics.
And we don't really know yet the full ramifications of this infection.
UNMC's main campus is home to another post-COVID-19 clinic that sees between 5 and 10 patients a week. Some were hospitalized with COVID. Others' infections weren't as severe. Most are still struggling with the same long-term symptoms, fatigue and shortness of breath.
That is a bulk of the people who've had COVID, who have symptoms after COVID, and beginning to help address those things so we understand, wherein is the problem.
Dr. Dan Anderson says the work at UNMC's clinic is diagnosis-based, so the patients typically get blood tests and in some cases, MRIs.
Do we see areas of inflammation or edema and swelling that we don't see by any other test, but actually shows that there may be a long-term impact from COVID-19.
There is much to be learned about the long-term effects of COVID-19. Dr. Berner says there are nearly 100 studies being done worldwide on the subject, so an answer may come relatively soon. On your side, Emily Dwyer, 6 News.
And UNMC is hoping to open another post-COVID clinic in the near future to focus on a wide spectrum of long-term symptoms.
A year ago this weekend, the